Waterloo Bridge at sunset. It has some of the best views in London. And today's Songs of Praise is all about the things that happen after the sun's gone down, and I'll be staying up all night meeting the people who work whilst most of us are fast asleep. There are the street angels watching over Bedford's clubbers, the chaplains helping truck drivers through the night. I'll also be travelling down the Thames to find out why the river has never been safer, and we'll have inspiring hymns and performances with a nighttime theme. Once night has fallen, most of us look forward to snuggling up in warm, cosy beds. But for many, the day is just beginning. In fact, it's reckoned that over 4 million of us work antisocial hours. Leisure, health, transport, manufacturing all depend on nighttime workers to keep going. Without nighttime workers, a lot of these services would just grind to a halt. Now, our first hymn today on Songs of Praise is usually sung at the end of the programme, but today it seems appropriate to have it at the beginning. The last shoppers have headed home and the streets are filling up with people looking for fun. The police will be working through the night to prevent crime, and in many towns and cities, Christian volunteers will be on the streets mingling with the clubbers, keeping an eye out for anybody who needs help. They're called street angels. I went to Bedford on a typical Saturday night to find out how a tragedy was the catalyst to forming the Bedford Street Angels. Robert Gill was just 17 when he said goodnight to his parents and headed into Bedford Town Centre for a night out with friends.
We weren't expecting him back until the next day. It was people we trusted. And they ended up going to a club in Bedford. In the club they got separated and Robert was sick without the support of the friend there and got asked to leave the club. and the people he was with waited outside looking for him till 3 o'clock in the morning. But he'd been taken by 3 youths, and we saw on CCTV eventually that they walked him through the town to the ATMs, and they eventually went out of sight at one of the Bedford bridges, and he was found in the river nearly a week later. Nearly a week
Yes.
later.
Your child dying is your worst case scenario, and then to know that actually somebody else took their life,
Yeah.
that's beyond your worst nightmare.
Yes.
As Christians, we're told that we should forgive. Is it actually possible to do that in a situation like this?
We knew that we had to forgive. And we took that stand right from the start. And somehow God has given us the strength and the grace to stand by that.
There's nothing that we could be angry about or do to them that would be worse than what they'd done to themselves, in a sense.
Has there been anything redeeming about this situation?
Street Angels starting in Bedford, there had already been people looking into whether something could be done in the town centre because there were problems. What had happened to Roberts, that kind of galvanised things, and fairly soon afterwards the decision was made to go for Street Angels as an organisation, and we were invited to become part of that, and we were part of that from the very early stages. What we do specifically is to be out on the streets of Bedford on Saturday nights, and we're there for people who have become vulnerable through drinking too much. We're there to support them and help them to keep safe. Sometimes it's just as simple as somebody needing a drink of water. They've become dehydrated through drinking too much. Sometimes the ladies have had too much of their high heels and can't manage on them anymore, so we carry flip-flops around with us and we give those out to people. We look out to keep people safe and to help them in whatever way we can.
Right, so we're in the high street.
Yes.
I'm itching to sort of find out what you do. Where do we go? What do we do first?
We'll go up the high street and see if there's anybody who needs our help and just see what's happening in the town.
All right, so lead the way and I'll follow you.
Yes.
If somebody is in a state that they can't get a taxi home, we'll wait with them until they are able to get a taxi and just make sure they do get home safely. We have a very good working relationship with the police. They're brilliant. They'll call us if they see somebody who needs help, and we'll go and be with them for as long as needed.
There's been a couple of times when it's been a vulnerable person along the streets that we know Robert went along. And we know that there's one nothing can happen to because we're out on the streets.
So she got somebody who's in distress?
Yeah, she's telling us that there's somebody down here that needs help. The thing that we can do is mention it to CCTV.
Right.
And they can observe.
Well, what we're seeing at the moment is typically what the street angels have to deal with on a Saturday evening. We were just sort of talking in a crowd with some of the revellers, and a young lady came up to us and told us that we had to come down this lane because one of the guys in her group, he's actually had too much to drink. He's come out of the club and he's just passed out on the side of the street. We don't know quite how serious it is at the moment, but it seems as if it's not really a great situation. So we're just sort of standing back, letting the street angels do what they do best, and also, you know, praying that everything actually works out.
They're probably the only people that will actually stop to help, rather than if public were just walking past, they'll just be, it's just another drunk on the road.
Yeah.
They'll just carry on walking rather than actually stopping and being like, are you okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what you need.
Thankfully, he's fine now. I don't quite know what I expected when I came out on the streets with the Angels tonight. I certainly didn't expect it to be quite so active. They engage with people on so many levels, as we can see just over here, you know, just even if it's just talking to people and making friends with them. And for me, it's just a really beautiful way of seeing God's love literally in action.